Hello, and thank you for joining us here at the First Alert Desk on Atlanta News First Plus. It is Friday, and a very exciting Friday at that. We are just 2 days away from Super Bowl LVIII, an exciting moment for the country. If you're a 49ers, Chiefs fan, even more exciting for you. Welcome to the Atlanta News First Plus desk. I am Maria Moreau, getting into some of the fanfare, preparation, and excitement that has been building up really for the past week, but final moments as things heat up really fast. I'm going to start with this live look for you out at Allegiant Stadium. This is in Las Vegas, where all of the magic is going to go down on Sunday. Now, the match is set. The San Francisco 49ers will represent the National Football Conference, and the Kansas City Chiefs will represent the American Football Conference after winning their respective championship games this past Sunday. It will be a rematch from Super Bowl 4 years ago, if you recall, when the Chiefs took the win. Now, all right, here are the important things that you are going to need to know before we get into all of this madness. The Chiefs are the defending Super Bowl champions. It is their fourth Super Bowl appearance in 5 years, and they have gained some new fans over the past few months, thanks to none other than Miss Taylor Swift and her budding romance with the team's tight end, Travis Kelce. And then you got the San Francisco 49ers, arguably the most talented roster in the NFL. The Niners had to rally last weekend to beat the Packers 24-21 to reach that NFC title game, but they made it happen, and a lot of fans are looking to them to be this year's Super Bowl champs. Now, it's anyone's guess who will come out on top. You can, of course, watch the Super Bowl on Atlanta News First. CBS will also stream the game on Paramount Plus, as well as Nickelodeon, who will be airing a kids' family-friendly broadcast, marking the first time the Super Bowl has had an alternate telecast on another network. That kickoff for the big game is going to be at 6:30 Eastern Time. Now, here on Atlanta News First Plus, we are going to have you covered on all things Super Bowl, and we are starting with that today, getting you inside looks live from Las Vegas. Pictures of preparations, the fanfare, the excitement that has been building up not only in Las Vegas, but really around the country and around the world for football fandom. We are going to get into everything you can expect, the best places to eat, the best places to dine out. If you're watching maybe in public, foods to put together. We are going to get you out to our sister station at KCTV with a look at how the Chiefs are preparing in Las Vegas. So much ahead for this stream. So thank you for joining us here on Roku TV, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV. Maybe you're joining the conversation on YouTube Live. For my YouTube audience, I want to start with what your Super Bowl predictions are. Who's going to come out on top? What are the major highlights that you are going to be looking forward to? Let's get into some of that. I want to start with a look at Las Vegas. Really all eyes on Vegas right now as preparations at Allegiant Stadium and around Allegiant Stadium are headed underway. Las Vegas preparing for the economic boom that this weekend is going to bring, and the Super Bowl experience that, by the way, people are paying thousands of dollars to experience in person. Here is a look from our sister station in Las Vegas, Fox 5 Vegas, with a look at some of those prices that are really being grabbed even in the thousands of dollars.
An extra $2.5 million? You can have the owner's club suite for the big game and bring 19 of your friends. Food, drinks, and 2 parking passes included. Fox 5 called and verified it is still available. Fans are paying a record amount on the secondary market for tickets to Super Bowl LVIII. Ticketing technology company Logitix has been tracking sales across multiple marketplaces. They found fans are willing to pay nearly double this year compared to 2019. This is what fans are actually paying, not what tickets are listed for. There are places to watch the game for a whole lot less. The Plaza is transforming their convention space into a watch party with a stadium food buffet and buckets of beer, price tag $125. Station casinos throughout the valley are also hosting big game events. At Sunset Station, their big game offering, all-you-can-eat stadium food and cash bar, price tag $50. If you are looking for fancy swag, hit the NFL store at the Forum Shops for exclusive merchandise. You'll find everything from a jewel-encrusted team clutch to Super Bowl 58 helmets. At Dick's Sporting Goods, pick up a Super Bowl t-shirt starting at just $25.
Well, I walked in and saw this and I had to have it right away. So.
We caught up with Super Chiefs fan Anthony Sanchez, who drove all the way from Needles, California to the Galleria location in Henderson to get his Super Bowl gear instead of buying online.
I didn't think it would come in time, so I made the trip out here to Vegas to grab some Super Bowl attire, make sure that I had some for the big game.
Also an inexpensive way to get hyped for the big game, this donut lineup, 5 specialized treats sold at Pink Box locations across the valley. One for each team, a football, a fan hand, and a 50-yard line.
And again, the preparations and the fun, for that matter, is already headed underway. Some fans aren't waiting until Sunday to soak in that excitement. They are looking for the experiences that are being offered right now. And none other than Las Vegas's Mandalay Bay Convention Center is offering quite the Super Bowl experience of their own.
It's all starting to feel real as Super Bowl 58 rolls into town and the Super Bowl experience gets unloaded into the Mandalay Bay Convention Center. This 700,000 square foot space will be filled from top to bottom, corner to corner, with all kinds of activations for fans, from flag football games to a field goal kicking station to the drip shops where you can get all kinds of apparel from the NFL. The NFL partnering with Usher ahead of the Super Bowl, so there will be some pretty swanky stuff in there for you to take a look at. All 57 Super Bowl rings will be here as well for fans to take a look at. There will be player appearances, obviously not from the Chiefs or the 49ers, as they've got a game to prepare for, but there will be players coming through. And actually, the doors will be opening on Wednesday at 3:30 by none other than Jerry Rice, the Super Bowl champion, former Raider, former 49er. He'll be here with the Lombardi Trophy to get everything going. The doors will open at 3:30 again, and it's $35 on that first day for admission. Any day after that, the prices will increase to $50. Every single day is free for children 12 and under, but this is an experience for all ages, just from attending the NBA's experience and the WNBA experience that they've set up here in town. It is so fun, no matter how old you are, and you know that the NFL will put on quite the show here for all fans to enjoy. And it is a very high security event. It's their highest security event, actually, that they told me. So it's very safe. Safety is the top priority for the NFL, especially when it comes to the NFL experience. They did urge people to come ahead of Saturday. Saturday will be the busiest day as everyone is getting in town for the game. But Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, definitely a little bit more calm in here if you want to try and get around to the stations and maybe not have to fight for your spot in line. But it's going to be an all-around great experience here at the Mandalay Bay Convention Center in Las Vegas. I'm Mariah Janos.
Well, we are here at the Super Bowl fan experience inside of the Mandalay Bay Convention Center. Now, we are getting a sneak peek today. It actually opens up to the public tomorrow. Now, this is a tradition for the NFL to have these experiences in the Super Bowl hosting cities. You know, so those who aren't able to go to the actual Super Bowl game, they can still feel like they are a part, you know, of Super Bowl activities. So they are going to have tons of activations here. I mean, it is huge, over 700,000 square feet, you know, of different activities set up here inside of the convention center. So they're going to have photo opportunities. They're going to have meet and greets with people like Eli Manning and Jerry Rice. And of course, you have the iconic photo opportunity with the Vince Lombardi Trophy. So many great things to do here for fans to come out and feel like they are just in all of the action for the Super Bowl. Reporting in Las Vegas, I'm Jenny Maston.
And taking a live look back out at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. Again, she is a beauty and really an important landmark right now for Super Bowl fans, for football fans everywhere. A lot of questions around the weather, as you can see some clouds building up, both in Las Vegas for those of you watching who have made it out and are going to be lucky enough to see all of this in person or experience some of it at least. And for those of you in Atlanta, we want to get you prepared for this weekend, regardless of your plans. So I do want to bring in meteorologist Rodney Harris with a look at your forecast.
Good morning to you, Maria. Unfortunately, our first alert weather day happens to fall on Super Bowl Sunday. We're not forecasting any severe weather, but you'll certainly be impacted. So I'll walk you through this entire weekend forecast here across the metro. We'll also talk, Maria, about the actual weather in Vegas. In fact, let me just get it out of the way. It'll be sunny in Vegas on Sunday. It'll be really nice with temperatures in like the 50s in the afternoon. So no issues in Vegas. You can actually see, and I'm looking off to the camera, live camera of Vegas. So I'm going to bring this camera back up if I can, Maria, so I can show people where this particular shot is, and you can see where it's cloudy. There we go. It's cloudy there now over the stadium, but those clouds are going to clear out, and we will be in great shape in time for Sunday. That's in Vegas, but not the case for us. I'm learning this on the fly. This is really cool, Maria. Here I am again. Happy Friday to you, everybody. So Friday, today, is the beginning of our rain chances. Our rain chances are going to slowly sort of ramp up from now through Monday. So today, just a few showers. I see it cut. Thank you. Just a few showers today, mainly in the mountains, so only a 20% chance of showers. Metro Atlanta is going to stay mostly dry, so we are in good shape there. There is that look of Friday. As we go into Saturday, the coverage of rain will increase to about 30%. Again, mainly north of Metro. For Metro Atlanta, we believe that our chance of showers will start to increase by 7 p.m. So if you have anything to do in Metro Atlanta up until 7, you're fine. By 7 o'clock, a few showers will be out there. So we actually dropped the first alert weather day for Saturday because even though we will have showers mainly in the mountains tomorrow, for much of the day, Metro Atlanta will be dry. Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, is a first alert weather day. Rain and even some isolated thunder will be possible. Again, no severe weather, but rain and isolated thunder. And then as we get into Monday, that is also a first alert weather day. Rain, isolated thunder, and even some isolated flooding will be possible Monday. So I want to walk you through the forecast model. First, we'll start with first alert radar. You can actually see that rain that is well north and west of Georgia. The reason why we're seeing these showers today is because of that cold front that you see on your screen. It's a very weak front. So initially, we're not really seeing a lot of rain. And notice how far away that front is from Metro Atlanta. That's why our rain chances are so low today. That front is just too far away. So if you're in northwest Georgia, a spotty shower or two. But for Metro Atlanta, we're staying dry. As we go into Saturday, that front slides a little bit further south and east. So it's a little bit closer to us. So that's why you'll see more shower activity in the mountains. And even as far south as like Bartow, Cherokee counties, Hall County, you'll see some showers in the afternoon. But still mostly dry from Atlanta southward until Saturday night. Then going into Sunday, that front actually moves into North Georgia. So that's when that heavier rain will start to move in. That is our first alert weather day. Here is our high-resolution forecast model. This is what we've been showing all morning here on Atlanta News First. For today, you can see how those showers are mainly north of Atlanta. As we take you into Saturday morning, whatever you have to do Saturday morning, you'll be fine. We're not forecasting any rain at all. It will be cloudy, but it'll stay dry. By Saturday afternoon, notice how the showers are starting to move in, but those showers are really north of Atlanta. We're talking to you in Ellijay, Hiawassee, Blue Ridge, Rome. But Metro Atlanta, we're still dry tomorrow at 4 o'clock. And then as we get into 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, just a few showers out there. So if you have any Saturday night plans, we're talking like 30% coverage of a shower or two. It's not a lot of rain, but it's possible that you'll get a little wet on Saturday night. And then here we go for Sunday. You can see that heavier rain moving in after 7 o'clock on Sunday morning. So if you go to church on Sunday morning, if you're going to brunch on Sunday morning, you will get wet. That rain will continue into the afternoon as well. Our models have been trying to show a bit of a break on Sunday afternoon. We're not really sure if that break is going to happen. If you do see a break from the scattered rain Sunday afternoon, just know that that rain is going to quickly move back in Sunday night. So it's definitely raining Sunday morning, and it's definitely raining Sunday night. We may get a break on Sunday afternoon. That's something we're going to have to follow for you in real time. But Sunday is definitely a first alert weather day for the rain and even some isolated thunder, so watch out for that. And then those rain chances will continue into Monday as well. So in terms of our total rainfall, what you see in orange there, that is at least 2 inches of rain that we are forecasting for Metro Atlanta, maybe even some higher totals. I'll point out that this is our model starting right now and going through the end of the day on Monday. Most of this rain is going to fall on Sunday and Monday. So about 2 inches of rain in 2 days is what we're forecasting. And initially, we don't have a flood threat at all today. You don't have to worry about really any rain, hardly at all. Same story for Saturday. By Sunday, maybe by Sunday night, there could be some isolated flooding, but it's looking like Monday is the overall highest risk for some isolated flooding. We're not talking about a complete washout, but that potential will certainly be there. So those rainfall totals are something we're going to watch for you very carefully. So rain for sure on Sunday and Monday. Isolated lightning. It'll be mostly rain, but don't be surprised if you hear a few claps of thunder. By Monday, a low risk of isolated flooding. And throughout this entire event, absolutely no severe weather will impact us here in Metro Atlanta. So here's the temperature right now. It's 53 degrees. One thing that I'll say about today, it'll be warmer than yesterday. We started in the 40s this morning. We're already up to 53. You can see there on the left-hand side, it's 6 degrees warmer right now compared to what we were seeing this time yesterday. And highs will be in like the mid-60s later on this afternoon. So it'll actually feel pretty pleasant. 65, that's our high today. It'll be 68 on Saturday. So when you take away the fact that it's not going to really rain during the day on Saturday, we're nearly 70 degrees for Saturday afternoon. Sunday, 64. Monday, 63. Then after Monday, we will start to cool back off. So 55 degrees will be your high on Tuesday. And I do want to get Valentine's Day in here because Valentine's Day is looking really nice. It'll be completely sunny next Wednesday. Your high will be 60 degrees. So the high is normally between like 3 and 4 in the afternoon. So with a high of 60 in the afternoon, that means your temperatures will be dropping into the 50s for Wednesday evening. So you're going to go out for dinner on Valentine's Day that night. Temperatures will probably be in the 50s, maybe a light jacket. But I mean, Valentine's Day turning out to be a really, really nice day. So that is your 7-day forecast. Mostly dry today for Metro. If you're out tomorrow night in Metro Atlanta, it's really more just a few showers. Most of the day will be dry. It'll stay cloudy today and tomorrow, but mostly dry. Shower Saturday night with the coverage of 30%. And then those first alert weather days are for Sunday and Monday for off and on rain that could be heavy at times. I'm going to take you back to Las Vegas. For those of you traveling to Las Vegas this weekend, Maria, I was looking at the price of the tickets. I, for one, will not be traveling. I will be watching on Atlanta News First on Sunday, where you can watch the Super Bowl. But I will say, if you are traveling, it'll be completely sunny, Maria, in Vegas
Rodney,
on Sunday.
you don't have $7,000 to blow on a ticket right now?
I would love to use somebody else's $7,000. But I absolutely don't have $7,000 for the Super Bowl. But, man, that sounds like it's going to be fun.
Yeah, definitely worth the money if you are a hardcore football fan. If Super Bowl is a once-in-a-lifetime experience, as many have said that it is. For those that make it into that stadium, I can only imagine the feeling and the excitement and the camaraderie that they're going to experience this Sunday.
It'll be nice. So I'll point this out. 50s for highs. I will say, and if you've been to Vegas, and I go to Vegas a lot myself. In Vegas, it's a really interesting climate. So you're in a valley, right? So it'll be nice during the day. But this time of year, it can actually get cold at night. So if you're traveling to Vegas, we're talking like the 30s. And it's a different type of 30 in Vegas. It's super dry over there. So it'll be cold at night, really pleasant during the day on Sunday if you're traveling there. Definitely better weather there than what we'll see here in Metro Atlanta. I do want to point out, Maria, if you're headed to Super Bowl parties on Sunday, Sunday afternoon won't be as bad. Sunday night when you're driving home from those Super Bowl parties, that's when your chance of rain. You'll probably get wet as you're driving home from those Super Bowl parties. No severe weather, but the roads will be wet, so just make sure and plan accordingly for that.
Well, I do have to ask you, Rodney, for the people, really, what are your Sunday Super Bowl plans?
My Sunday Super Bowl plans are to watch Atlanta News First all day. Don't turn your television off of Atlanta News First and Atlanta News First Plus. No, I'm going to go to church, watch the game. Watch the game at home, Maria. Of course, as you know, we have to be back here very early on Monday morning to get everybody to work. You got to come to work on Monday. So I will be kind of chilled out at the house, watching on TV for free. Maybe some wings, a little Diet Coke action because I'm trying to be healthy. So that's my Super Bowl Sunday. How about yours?
I am not a big football fan, but I have people
in
my
today.
household who are going to convert me this weekend.
Nice.
So glued to my TV, enjoying the indoors, definitely throwing wings into the mix.
Oh, wings have to happen, right? They have to be there. Well, it'll be a good idea to be indoors on Sunday because remember we are under first alert weather day, and even though we're not seeing any severe weather, maybe not a bad idea to get to those parties early. Just kind of hang out and have a good time.
Certainly. Meteorologist Rodney Harris, thank you so much. A weather report to get you prepared for whatever this weekend might bring you, but hopefully it brings you a Super Bowl excitement, and that is what we are going to continue to talk about here. A lot of the Super Bowl is about everything that goes around the Super Bowl. And one of the major things is food. If you're not a big football fan, you definitely are a foodie. I think all of us can get around a celebration where we just eat and enjoy each other's company. That's what the holidays are about. That's definitely what Super Bowl is mainly about, is just getting together in a moment, enjoying some good food. And for that, I do want to talk a little bit about dining and food options that you can maybe plan for or get outside and go to for your Super Bowl festivities. Right now, taking you back out to Allegiant Stadium just for a moment, while I do want to take you through some of the food and really the recipes that you can start making this weekend. Maybe you're hosting, maybe you are throwing together a get-together outside of your home. Whatever your plans are, food is top of mind for so many, and we hope that you have a fantastic food experience along with watching the big game.
As the Chiefs and 49ers prepare for Sunday, so does the offensive line of America's restaurants.
We call it our game day. We call it our big Super Bowl day.
Super Bowl Sunday is one of Domino's busiest days of the year, selling on average 2 million pizzas. Franchisee Giovanni Gera says they've been preparing for 2 weeks.
It's all hands on deck, down to our office staff. You'll find our office team members working in a store that day.
Whether you're placing an order or cooking at home, inflation has pushed up most food prices. The latest government numbers show dining out is up more than 5%. The grocery store isn't as bad, and one fan favorite is actually cheaper.
Wings are down.
Wells Fargo economist Michael Swanson says fresh chicken wings at the store are down 5%, and the frozen variety are 11% cheaper than last year. That's good news, with Americans expected to eat nearly 1.5 billion wings this week.
We see a continued improvement in the poultry sector, and that's really helped with the price of wings.
Chips will cost about 5% more, while guacamole prices are about the same as a year ago. And Swanson says it's always a good idea to shop for deals.
Supermarkets are aggressively trying to get people into their store.
We do very well.
Gera says with football viewership smashing records, they expect pizza orders Sunday may do the same.
When it's a big game this year, Kansas City, San Francisco, it's going to be a big day across the board.
An all-out blitz to keep football fans fed. Michael George, CBS News, New Rochelle, New York.
And I wanted to bring in the foodie himself, Atlanta Eats, Joey Weiss, with us. You were on our morning show, and now you're here to share with the people who are just not going to add cooking to their plans this weekend the best spots to dine out for Super Bowl 58.
Yeah, you know, the Super Bowl is all about sitting back, enjoying, and not only consuming, hopefully what's going to be a great game with the Chiefs and the Niners, but consuming some really good food. And sometimes people want to have a lot of folks in, so you want to make sure you have a good option so everybody's happy. Or maybe you're just very hungry and you want to bring in something that you're going to like. So that's what Super Bowl Sunday is all about, in my foodie opinion.
So I know Domino's, we just watched a story about how busy they are going to get. Your personal opinions, best foods or recipes maybe for Super Bowl 58, anything that you are planning for this weekend food-wise?
Yeah, well, so first off, for the record, I do love Domino's. People get very contentious about their delivery pizza. I think Domino's, like that garlic crust is like surprisingly good, and I see it as like a delicacy. But as far as what I'm doing, so we're having people to our place, and I'm going to be on the Big Green Egg. I'm going to be smoking some wings, and you know, once you get a Big Green Egg, it kind of becomes your personality. So I had to do that, make a little ranch with that. But then we did the best thing you can do when you're having people over for anything, make it a potluck, because not only do you have a lot less cooking to do, but leftovers. No one wants to take their leftovers home, so I'll be eating some onion dip for the rest of the week.
And everyone feels included. They can bring something. It's not awkward.
Yeah, but the only problem with that, though, is sometimes if you bring something that you really like, you might just eat all of the stuff that you bring. So I've done that in the past where I've made like sliders, and I ate like 10 of the 12 that were brought, and then it seems a little bit indulgent, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, if you are one of those people that are hosting a potluck, make sure you dip into all of the foods. Make everyone feel the love.
Yeah, just to be polite. You can spit it out if it's not good, but maybe not
throw
in
it to the
front
dog,
of them.
or don't.
Right.
Hey, so I wanted to bring you on here to talk about some good foodie spots here in Atlanta. Whether you're carrying out, maybe dining in, to catch the game and also fill your bellies. You had some fantastic ones that you mentioned on the morning show, starting with a barbecue spot that has really claimed a local fame here in Atlanta.
Yeah, so this is DBA Barbecue. So they originally had their spot in Virginia Highlands, but now they also have one in the Chastain area over in Buckhead. And what's really impressive about what they do, so first off, it's for a city that is blessed with a lot of great barbecue. DBA definitely can hang with the heavy hitters. And they do a catering package. They actually do multiple catering packages where you can get a wide variety of different meats, wide variety of sides. Of course, you got to get some sauces in there. But what I think is maybe most intriguing about what's going on at DBA is they actually have a build-your-own barbecue nacho kit. And I mean, I want to repeat myself, a barbecue nacho kit. So, we all love nachos and we all love barbecue. So when you're able to marry the two, I mean, that's about as beautiful a pairing as I can really imagine.
There is a dedication that people have to wings and the Super Bowl. It's almost like you can't do Super Bowl without the wings. Here in Atlanta, we take our wings very seriously.
Oh, yeah.
From what you've heard, from being immersed in Atlanta's food culture, what are the best wings to get for people who are planning to add that to their food list this weekend?
Yeah, well, one of them I'll mention on here, but I can talk about. See, a lot of times people, since I'm in the food business, which sounds like a fake thing I just said, they'll ask me my favorite restaurant, and that's a hard thing to answer. But best wings, I could go on and on, but I'll at least tell you I have a 1A and a 1B, and those are the local, which I think anyone who's ever been there, it's probably number one on their list. And Clay's Sports Cafe, which I'll talk about in just a few minutes. And what's nice is it's kind of the two sides of the wing coin, where the local, they are smoked wings, and you take one bite and you pull out a clean bone, whether you're trying to do that or not. And they have some amazing sauces. They have a sun-dried tomato sauce that's incredible. My personal favorite, they have a spicy Korean. The local is amazing. I mean, it's the kind of place, though, it's a 21 and up bar, and you go there and you order at the counter, and you better make sure you're following the instructions, because they're not going to be afraid to call you out on social if you don't pick up your food. So make sure you do that. But then Clay's is, which again, I'll talk about more in a second, but Clay's is more classic, deep-fried, jumbo wings. I mean, I like a saucy wing. When I'm eating a wing, I want to have to hold my hands up, because they're going to be drenched, and either I'm going to be using a whole roll of paper towels, or I'm just going to bear on and hope that I'm not going to make too much of a mess while I'm doing that. So I love those two places. A few others that I think do a really good job. $3 Cafe, multiple locations all over Metro Atlanta. That's a classic sports bar right there. I also really, really love the wings at B&L Wings, which is pretty close to the studio. It's a carry-out only spot. They have a ghost kitchen, but I mean, they have like a hot honey lemon pepper wing sauce that, oh my God. The first time I ever had that, and they have like a sweet blue cheese dressing. And even if you don't like blue cheese, I mean, you take a bite of that thing, and I mean, it's like when I eat it, I almost get like chills, like the hair on my arm stands up. And maybe I'm getting a little too intense about the wings right now for this morning hour, but the B&L wings are just so tasty. And Atlanta's lucky to have those. And one special honor I'll give for another great wing, it might not even necessarily count, but there's a place in Smyrna called Yakitori Jinbei, and they do great sushi, great ramen, but they have a Korean fried chicken, and it's little. I mean, they're pretty small pieces. They're really not much smaller than a wing. But you take a bite, it's as crunchy as it could possibly get. The sauce is sweet, it's spicy, it's got a little sour, some of the umami. I mean, it is just as tasty as it gets. It was even, Yakitori Jinbei was on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives one time, and Guy Fieri, the king of Flavortown himself, said that they were some of the best chicken he's ever had.
I believe that. I will not argue at all with anyone who is dedicated to food like he is. I want to get into some of these other spots. You mentioned Clay's Sports Cafe. Talk to me a little bit about that. I briefly showed their Instagram page here, and it is just mouth-watering.
Yeah, well, I think one sign of that, that they make good wings, is that I don't think they've posted in over a year on their Instagram page, which, they're too busy slinging wings, and they really have the carry-out down to a science. Whenever you order them, and they're going to always bring out something that's super fresh. Like I said, just drowning in sauce, which I personally love. You can ask for a little less saucy, but when it rains, it pours. I want to be covered head to toe in wing sauce. But you can dine in while you're there. They don't have a huge dining area, but if you do want to sit there and enjoy it, you can. But they have a lot of really great sauces, including you can combine all of the sauces. And so my pro tip is, when I go to Clay's, I get the hot lemon yaki, which is a portmanteau of hot lemon pepper and teriyaki, because whenever I go, I know I'm getting 10 wings, and I know that I'm going to be enjoying them, but the real question is which sauce do I decide? And with the hot lemon yaki, I don't have to make that decision. So it's a pretty unassuming place. It's just in a shopping center in Sandy Springs, and you go in there and you really don't expect to have such a fantastic experience, but whether you're there as a part of a family, whether you're there on your own, just a person on a mission to bring the wings in, you are going to have a great meal at Clay's.
You know, Joey, another spot that really caught my attention, especially when you and Lana were talking about it, sports and social is not just food, but it is really an experience.
Yeah.
And for Super Bowl, that is what people are looking for most.
Exactly, yeah. Sports and social, it's over at the Battery. I mean, it is a massive space. I don't know the exact count they have on TVs, but it's certainly more than I have at my house. But what's really cool is that they have all the games going on. They have commercials, all kinds of cool things like that. But they also have a closed circuit camera. So while there's commercials, which I know some people love the commercials in the Super Bowl, they'll actually show people in the crowd. They'll have experiences that people are actually going to be able to participate in. And even, I'll share this story. I'll keep it safe for the morning hour. But they sometimes will do something where they'll zoom in on somebody and you have to chug the drink that you have. And actually, the night that I first met my now fiance, I had just been on the camera chugging a Chops Executioner. And look, I'm not going to say that everybody's experience will go quite as well as that, but it's awesome because you can never fully sit back. You might be prompted to get in on the fun while you're there, but also you can just enjoy the game while you're there. And they have all kinds of great views, so there's really no bad spot in the house. Plus, the doors open at 3 p.m. and the game starts at 6:30, which means it really starts at like 7:15, which means that you have to make sure that you're keeping a good pace going. Because if you want to make it through the game, find out who wins, find out how Usher's going to be playing, you can't bring it up at an 11 right at 3 p.m. You got to ease into it.
I'm glad you bring up Usher because it is not just about the Chiefs, the 49ers. It is about the entire experience. I mean, we got the pre-game performances. We got the national anthem. We have the halftime show, the commercials. I've never seen people more glued to commercials than on Super Bowl events. One of the other spots on the list, a really popular one, and I might be butchering this, Dantana's?
No, you did not butcher
I got
it. You nailed it.
All right. Talk to me a little bit about this spot.
Yeah, so Dantana's over by Lenox Mall. What's really awesome about Dantana, so it's the platonic ideal of the sports bar. They got the TVs, they got all the delicious food, which we were able to eat some wings in the studio a little while ago, which is a perfect 9:45 a.m. snack. But Dantana's actually is going to be having a big game viewing party, and what's cool about it, besides the fact that it's just going to be a lot of fun, is that it is actually all you can eat. So you pay a flat rate, and then you go in there, you go and you get your money's worth, because they have a surf and turf, so you can get oysters, you can get shrimp, peel and eat shrimp, of course. You can get sliders, you can, of course, get the wings, and then for desserts, they have all kinds of options, including a Krispy Kreme bite, which I assume is just like a munchkin, but made by Krispy Kreme. So what I would really like about that is, so much of what I like about the potluck of the Super Bowl party is that you get so much variety. And when you go to a place like this, not only do you get the variety, but you can eat as much of it as you want. You won't have the guy like me who's hogging all the buffalo chicken dip. You can go and you can enjoy it all to yourself, and you're not taking it away from anybody else, because Dantana's will be ready for you. And the real question is, will you be ready for Dantana's? Yeah,
fair enough. And hey, if you wanted to write down some of these spots or note them for this weekend, we are going to have a full article for you on our website, atlantanewsfirst.com. Joey, you are the go-to guy for all things food here in Atlanta. How can people connect with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my phone number is I'm on
Instagram.
Go ahead. Well, yeah, we'll include that in the article.
Right.
My phone. No, I actually almost really said it. My Instagram is Joey Weiss 1029. I have a Twitter that I don't really post on that much, but it's that Weiss Kid. So, if you hit me with a follow, if people follow me, maybe I'll get back on there. Maybe I'll have my triumphant return. But besides that, just check out atlantaeats.com. Check out our YouTube channel, ATL Eats, and you can see I do a series called Chef Special, where I go to restaurants, get in the kitchen with them. It's got a little bit of diners, drive-ins, and dives energy, but I'm not quite as hardcore as Guy Fieri, but all kinds of things like that. Just check out Atlanta Eats, watch our TV show, which airs on Thursday nights and Sunday mornings, and do all kinds of things like that. You might even see me on there. And of course, I always do segments like this with Lana. Hopefully going to be doing some more with you while we're here, but those always air Friday mornings. So if you ever have a top 5 list, slide into my DMs, Joey Weiss 1029 on Instagram, and we'll find something to highlight some of your favorite places.
And go out there so you don't really have to find out for the first time. You just watch Joey.
Yeah, exactly. exactly.
Thank you so much for joining us. Want to take folks back out to Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. Taking a look, this is live right now. As you can see, the final preparations are getting underway. A big thing about the Super Bowl you might have not known about is Atlanta has actually hosted, not once, not twice, but 3 separate times, 1994, 2000, and 2019. And a lot of history wrapped up in the times that Atlanta has been the center spot for Super Bowl fandom. I'm going to be talking with our Atlanta News First investigative producer, Tim Darnell, here in a moment about these 3 Super Bowl moments, but one particularly stood out and is not for the reason that you would expect.
It was arguably the most infamous crime ever associated with the NFL's biggest game of the year. Super Bowl 35, held January 30th, 2000, was the very first Super Bowl ever hosted by the city of Atlanta in the massive football complex known as the Georgia Dome, which has now, of course, been demolished. But what happened in the early morning hours of January 31st, 2000 still reverberates today. I'm Tim Darnell and welcome to season 2 of ATL Vault here on Atlanta News First, where we go back in time and look at the most famous events in Atlanta's history. And we're joined today by Tim Livingston. Now, Tim is an award-winning podcast producer of the NBA referee scandal investigative podcast called Whistleblower. However, he has recently launched, after a 3-year investigation, a new series of podcasts on Apple Podcasts in association with Tenderfoot TV and Audacity called The Raven. On roughly around in the early morning hours of January 31st in the year 2000, Ray Lewis, who was already by then a Baltimore Ravens linebacker who was well on his way to a Hall of Fame career, was involved in an altercation outside a Buckhead nightclub called Cobalt, the Cobalt Lounge. 2 men, Richard Lawler and Jason Baker, were stabbed to death in an altercation outside that particular Buckhead establishment. 11 days after that particular crime, Ray Lewis, along with 2 other men, Joseph Sweeting and Reginald Oakley, were arrested and charged in their murder. However, Ray Lewis would go on to plead guilty to obstruction of justice, and represented by one of the most famous, well-respected criminal defense attorneys in the nation, Don Samuel and Ed Garland. He received a 1-year probation and a $250,000 fine, if I'm not mistaken, from the NFL. Less than a year later, Ray Lewis would become Super Bowl 36 MVP, as the Ravens would go on to win the NFL championship that year. His 2 associates, Joseph Sweeting and Reginald Oakley, would stand trial later that year and would be found not guilty, who were exonerated. Until no one to date has ever been found guilty of those 2 murders. But you have, through your amazing investigation, and I listened to the first edition of The Raven this morning before we spoke, you embarked on a massive investigation. I'm not going to ask you to tell us what you found, but what was it that drew you to this case?
I got approached after Whistleblower by a couple documentary filmmakers who wanted to basically do a version of Whistleblower where I investigated crime, but film it. And so we talked about several different stories. That deal never came to fruition, but they were really into this story, which, as being from Los Angeles, not really having any connection to Ray Lewis or to any of the characters, I didn't really gravitate towards it. But then I got deeper into it and I realized that I witnessed an eerily similar murder in Los Angeles as a kid about a year after this crime. So at that point, there was this deep emotional pull to unravel this thing. And yeah, just started investigating it. And 20 years later was the right time to do so. Clint Rucker and Paul Howard, who I'm sure a lot of your listeners know, they were in office until 2020. And a big part of this case is a big part of the story is understanding the prosecution side of this case. And those guys couldn't talk until 2020. And I luckily started this podcast in 2021 and started there and got a lot of really interesting information that we unravel over the course of the show.
The first episode of the Raymond, as I recall, is entitled "Who Is That Dude?" And you went to Akron, Ohio, where a lot of these the individuals who were involved in this case are from. Tell us about that journey.
So we started in Akron because of that. What really gets lost in this story are that there was 2 victims, and those families and those victims never received an ounce of justice. And so we started there just to understand who those guys were, and a lot of interesting information learned in Akron too. We started off with a character named Zig, who was in the Cobalt Lounge that night in Buckhead, was a part of this entire dynamic throughout the weekend between these 2 groups. And he wouldn't speak to the cops, but 20 years later, he was willing to speak to us. And that's a big part of the story, is that nobody spoke to the cops for varying reasons. And the cops and the investigators really didn't gather nearly enough information to make this what it should have been, a slam dunk case. And that's how, again, everything unfolded in a really positive way for Ray Lewis and his friends. So now we're here all these years later, had an emotional tie, started asking questions, went to Akron, and it all kind of came together in a really great podcast.
Take us through the events that night. I mean, I remember the case, and this is arguably, probably today, still remains the most exciting Super Bowl in NFL history. The St. Louis Rams defeated the Tennessee Titans, first Super Bowl Atlanta ever hosted in the Georgia Dome, which at the time was a world-renowned football facility. Now we have Mercedes-Benz Stadium, but this happened 23, 24 years ago. Take us through the actual events of that night and into the early morning hours of January 31st, 2000.
Yeah. So there was a group from Akron that both of the victims were a part of. About 40 people from Akron, Ohio came to promote a rapper named Chino Nino, who at the time was an up-and-comer in the rap world. He had just recorded a song with Juvenile, who's a very well-known rapper, and they all came to Atlanta to promote Chino Nino. So they were in the Cobalt Lounge that night for that purpose. And then Ray Lewis's group was there just partying with Ray. And there was, as both groups were leaving, there was allegedly, I think we pretty conclusively established that a member of Ray Lewis's entourage named Reginald Oakley starts an argument between the 2 groups, and it continues for, again, this all happens in seconds, maybe a minute or 2. But they start arguing. They start walking down the street, Ray Lewis's group towards his limo, the Akron group towards their next destination, and something happens between the 2 groups. There is, within a moment, and this is what we're trying to uncover in this podcast, who started it? What was that catalyst? But there was a catalyst, and the 2 groups started fighting. And then 2 members of the Akron group wound up dead with stab wounds, multiple stab wounds to vital organs. And we're trying to uncover who did the stabbing, what caused the fight. There's just a lot to uncover in this case. We started off with a ton of questions.
In reading and refreshing my memory regarding this, Ray Lewis was somehow involved in the altercation, and there was a suit that he was wearing that apparently was covered in blood. One of the victim's blood, samples of one of the victim's blood was found in his limousine. One of the big questions in the case was what happened to this supposedly blood-covered suit. Am I correct?
Yes, the suit, it's a little bit of a red herring. I mean, there's just so much more like this. The disappearing suit, which Ray Lewis's attorney years later in an interview with CNN claimed was just at the cleaners. We don't think that's true. That suit it's certainly interesting, but there are so many bigger pieces of this story as we dug into it. The suit became a really, really small thing, which I think gives you an idea of if you do know about this story, then you probably know about the suit. And hopefully it's enticing to hear that the suit, by the end of it, you're like, who cares about the suit?
What did you learn about Atlanta when you were doing your research? You said you're from Los Angeles and wasn't familiar with it. What did you learn about the city?
A lot. I think it's really interesting just in general, cities trying to get people to move there, right? A city is a business in and of itself. They're trying to expand that business. And Atlanta in this time, really throughout the 90s and early 2000s, was trying to boom as a city. And obviously there's a lot of great things in Atlanta. It's the biggest, most, there's the biggest city in the Southeast. There's a lot of things that would entice a lot of people to move to Atlanta, I think are doing so currently. But yeah, the branding part of like just a city and how a city wants to brand itself, right? So Atlanta was trying to brand itself as this up and coming city. It's a great place to live, and there's fun events. There's the Super Bowl. There's the Olympics. Like that's it seemed like Atlanta was very much trying to establish itself. And then at the Olympics, the 1996 Olympic Park bombing, and then fast forward to 2000, there's a double homicide in Buckhead. It really, I think, affected the morale, maybe just for a short time. Like I think 20 years later, I know Atlanta's more than rebounded, but I think there were just two gut punches to this up and coming city at these two huge events. So yeah, I've learned a lot about Atlanta. I think it's really interesting. I think the city today is great and a place where everybody should want to live. But at this time, and we do get into the system, the Paul Howard's office, the police department at that time was a mess. So we get into a lot of stuff. Like the city's bones it was still a very young city. Like if you look at how the detectives were, like one detective on duty at all times in the city of Atlanta. That's one thing we learned. Like there was, after the Super Bowl, all these people come to your city, hundreds of thousands of people descend upon your city. You have one homicide detective working morning hours after. And that was common. That was just something that Mike Smith and his department thought was enough for a city of Atlanta's size. So there's a lot of really interesting things, and Atlanta is definitely a big character in the story.
Tell me a little bit about Paul Howard. Now, he was a DA in Fulton County for many years, ran for re-election, was re-elected several times, but in 2020, he was ousted by a former assistant DA who worked for him, Fonnie Willis. Fonnie Willis is now obviously pursuing a number of huge high-profile crime or trials. One that we're covering here in Atlanta regarding rapper Young Thug and the YSL alleged gang, and the other, of course, which everyone knows about, her indictment of former President Donald Trump. Tell me about her predecessor.
Paul Howard is a really interesting character in the story. He was the district attorney, so he was a bureaucrat, he was a politician, but he was a former trial lawyer, former prosecutor. And so after years, many, many years of not trying a case, he put himself as lead chair in this case. And unfortunately, that did not work out well. He was going up against Don Samuel, Steve Sadow, who's defending Donald Trump, Bruce Harvey, and a number of other very talented defense attorneys. And Paul Howard got absolutely owned on every single major part of this trial. So unfortunately, I think Paul Howard was a politician, and I don't mean that in a positive way. And so you probably know more about his reign as Atlanta's district attorney than I do. But after learning about how he handled this case and led this case, it was, I think it's gonna be pretty disheartening for Atlanta listeners.
Now, the victim's family, Richard Lawler and the family of Richard Lawler and Jason Baker, you talked to Richard Lawler's brother. They believe Ray Lewis got away with murder. What do you think?
I think I would love to answer that question a day before our second episode drops, but your listeners are going to have to hang on for the entire ride. I think in this podcast we give the audience, by the time you listen to the 7th episode, I think you will have enough information to really understand what happened in this case. There will still be questions, many of which Ray himself has to answer, but I think you will understand every single facet of this story, from the murders themselves to a bungled investigation to an even more bungled courtroom trial. So with that being said, I think a lot of questions will be answered, with a lot of good questions still remaining by the time we get to the end of this thing. And Ray Lewis as a character is somebody who, if you have an idea, well, I don't believe the Lawlers are correct, but Ray is certainly a layered character by the end of this story.
With his plea deal, am I correct in saying he did accept a plea deal for obstruction of justice? Do you think there's any portions of that agreement that prohibit him from speaking on this in a more public or thorough forum?
So I don't think the misdemeanor plea really affected that. I mean, he did separate deals with both of the victims' families. I know he had cash settlements with the Bakers and the Lawlers, or Richard Lawler's wife, or excuse me, the mother of his future child. So I think as part of all those agreements and part of this whole thing, Ray's PR strategy was just to be quiet. I don't think there was a lot of stuff that, despite Ray not being somebody who, let me choose my words carefully here. I think Ray is the victim in some ways in this story, and I think Ray is guilty of some things in this story. But when it comes to him as a character, that's the beauty of this story, is that you get all those layers, and you get somebody where, by the end of it, I think the world's just going to hear from him and hear what he's got to say.
Ray Lewis, as I said, went on to a Hall of Fame NFL career, arguably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, middle linebacker in NFL history. Final question, do you think anyone will ever be brought to justice for these 2 homicides that occurred more than 20 years ago this month?
I don't think so. And I think that's more of a statute of limitations question. What I'm hoping to achieve with this podcast is to give the victims' families all the answers that they haven't had. Because like you said in that first episode, Richard Lawler's aunt, who was at the trial every single day and who everybody in the family considered the family expert, she thinks and thought and thinks that Ray Lewis is clearly the murderer, the one who killed her nephew. And there was 2 victims in this case, so there's a lot of questions about who killed who, but we pretty conclusively conclude that Ray Lewis did not kill Richard Lawler. And so the families have been had this truth in their head for all this time. And I hope that by the time we're done presenting all the evidence that we're going to present, they have a really clear idea of what happened to Richard and Jason, and that they get that closure.
Tim Livingston is the host of a new series, a podcast called The Raven. Now, tell me how many episodes there are and where can people listen to The Raven?
You can listen to Raven on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. There's going to be 7 core episodes of the series, with probably 3 to 4 additional bonus episodes coming shortly after. And yeah, listen to it wherever you get your podcasts.
Now, what is the timetable? As of the time we're talking this morning, there are 2 episodes out. What is the what's the schedule for release?
We release episodes every Friday. So you can get an episode ahead of time if you're a Tenderfoot Plus subscriber. Otherwise, they release weekly every Friday. You can get a little bit ahead with Tenderfoot Plus, but for the next 6 weeks, they'll be releasing Friday.
Well, this is Tim Livingston, host of the Raven podcast, regarding one of the most famous crimes, arguably the most famous crime ever associated with the NFL championship game, the worldwide phenomenon known as the Super Bowl, regarding Ray Lewis and the double homicide that occurred only hours after Super Bowl 35 held here in Atlanta. Thanks for Tim Livingston for joining us. And also, we encourage all of you to listen not only to The Raven on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you get your podcasts, but also season 2, ATL Vault, also on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thanks for listening to this edition of ATL Vault here on Atlanta News First.
And I am here with the man himself, Atlanta News First investigative producer Tim Darnell, also host of the ATL Vault podcast. It is also available across all of your streaming devices. I wanted to bring you on here to talk about the 3 Super Bowl years that Atlanta got to host. Year 2000, not great, as we just heard. For another reason, there was a massive ice storm that came through the city.
Maria, everyone knows how crazy things get in Atlanta when we have a little bit of snow and a little bit of ice. Well, the ice storm of 2000 came several days before the 2000 Super Bowl was held on January 30th. 2000, and it took really almost 2 decades for Atlanta to win another Super Bowl host, to become another Super Bowl host city, that being the first ever held in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium with the New England Patriots and the Los Angeles Rams. Arguably one of the most exciting Super Bowls ever in NFL history came in 1994, this very first year that the Georgia Dome hosted and the city of Atlanta hosted a Super Bowl that was between the St. Louis Rams and the Tennessee Titans, a game that's still remembered as for coming down to really the last few seconds on the goal line stand, St. Louis holding off a furious late game rush from the Tennessee Titans to win their very first NFL championship. That was followed in 2000 between the Buffalo Bills and the Dallas Cowboys. Not a great game, but we had the ice storm, we had this horrible crime that happened afterward, and of course in 2019, Tom Brady and the New England Patriots win their 5th or 6th consecutive Super Bowl in Atlanta in Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
And talk to me about the excitement that Atlanta had experienced. Most recently in 2019, we saw some reporters take us out to Las Vegas, and already you have the fandom building up, the preparations, all of the pins and needles that come with such a massive event that millions of people will tune into. Atlanta got to experience that in 2019, and it was a fantastic time for so many here.
It was, because mainly the excitement of the then brand new Mercedes-Benz Stadium with the 360 halo board above the stadium. Now that's something that we see in SoFi in Santa Clara, California, Allegiant in Las Vegas, but no one had really seen all of the technological advancements in any NFL stadium other than Mercedes-Benz Stadium that Arthur Blank went all out, and the city of Atlanta and the Atlanta Falcons and his associated businesses went all out to build one of the world's most quality all-around sporting facilities that's going to host the World Cup in less than 2 years.
And Tim, I know that you are a Super Bowl watcher yourself, a fan. We were just talking off camera about how you have got together with your own friends for the past few decades, kept up with your own tradition. Anything that you have in store this weekend, your plans for Super Bowl 58?
Well, Maria, like we were talking off camera, I'm very fortunate to have a very close group of friends and family. They've been gathering at my house for 35 years now. It's kind of a tradition, and we make our own homemade Super Bowl chili, which I'm very happy with this year, I might say. So it's just a family and friends tradition here at my household. But it's the single most watched sporting event, single day sporting event in the world. So who can't get excited about that?
Yeah, certainly. And not just here in the U.S., just really, like you said, globally, football fans everywhere tuning in for this Sunday's game. I do just want to make sure that people can connect with ATL Vault if they want to. It's a fantastic series that you do. Most recently, this Super Bowl, the year 2000, and the infamous crime that went down here in Atlanta, as we just tuned into. Where can people find this series?
Maria, we're on ATL Vault on AtlantaNewsFirst.com. And all of our podcasts are available wherever you pick up your podcast: Apple Music, Amazon, Spotify, the #1 podcasting platform in the world. You can find ATL Vault, Atlanta News First, Behind the Investigation, Sports Tonight, all on these amazing streaming platforms available all over the world.
Tim Darnell, thank you so much. We will make sure to drop a link for our YouTube audience. You can also find it on our website, atlantanewsfirst.com. I want to get you back out to Allegiant Stadium right now. A beautiful look at this stadium that will garner millions and millions of eyes this weekend. And Vegas is already the city of magic and lights, but it is lighting up for Super Bowl 58.
Las Vegas is lighting up, welcoming football fans to the city for Super Bowl 58.
Las Vegas just has an energy to it, an atmosphere. It has the Sphere. It has this great Las Vegas Strip.
On the 50-yard line of the Las Vegas Strip is Caesar's Palace. It kicked off Super Bowl week Sunday with a dazzling 65,000 square foot projection on the side of the hotel.
It's going to be a celebration of the joy of football, our football fandom, all 32 teams, and the battle of the two teams to the Super Bowl for that Lombardi trophy.
In this situation, we have to battle the lights of Las Vegas. So in order to do that, we put 40K projectors up on the roof to pull that off.
The 3-minute Super Bowl spectacular show at Caesar's Palace will run multiple times a night during Super Bowl week.
I was surprised at first. I didn't know it was going to happen, and the size and scale of it was really impressive. I feel like it's typical Las Vegas. Bigger is better. So why do small when you can go the entire side of Caesar's Palace?
I'm a Niners fan, so go Niners. I thought it was really well done. So I saw some of my favorite players. Just how it was projected on such a large scale, that was really cool.
There will also be a full marquee takeover on the Strip every night from 5 to 5:30 to showcase the unique landscape of Las Vegas. And the Sphere has teamed up with the NFL to create its own custom displays, including a clock with a countdown to kickoff, a big welcome to Las Vegas sign for fans visiting for the big game, plus a display showcasing all 57 championship rings as a celebration of Super Bowl history.
And I want to take you now out to Las Vegas Strip with our sister station at KCTV, joined by none other than Bill Hurlbrink. Thank you so much for jumping on here with us. Just making sure you can hear me before we start. Bill, can you hear me all right?
It's really fuzzy coming in on our end, guys, so I apologize. I got you. Yeah, I got you here on our side, but it's really fuzzy coming in, and it's just a crazy day here in Las Vegas as we're gearing up for Super Bowl 58. The energy is palpable, though. You can feel it in the air. It's insane. The Chiefs are going back for their 4th Super Bowl appearance in 5 years, hopefully going for ring number 3 in the last 5 years as well. So just a lot of fun stuff happening here in Las Vegas. We're just to the south side of the Strip, next to the Luxor Hotel in the Mandalay Bay with Allegiant Stadium, just on the other side of the highway over there. That's where they had the NFL honors at last night, and a lot of famous folks and celebrities here in Las Vegas as we get ready for Super Bowl 58.
And Bill, you guys have a lot of eyes on you for the Kansas City Chiefs, the defending champions. I know that I'm going to take a lucky guess at the team that you are rooting for, but to follow these guys all the way to Las Vegas a year after they already had won the Super Bowl, which a massive accomplishment, and then to see them about to possibly do it all again. I mean, talk to me a little bit about the excitement in Kansas City for this moment.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Chiefs Kingdom is just on board with this next trip to the Super Bowl. I mean, there's so many things that are going on in Kansas City, from, you know, our downtown area being decked out to our Union Station being all decked out with Chiefs stuff, with Travis Kelce stuff, even with Jason Kelce stuff, and don't forget Taylor Swift as well. We have countless people drive down to our Union Station, which is just south of our downtown area, going to take pictures of all these different events, all the watch parties around town that are popping up as well. I mean, the energy level in Kansas City, again, is just on another level. You know, it almost seems like to think maybe Kansas City should be used to this, because, again, this is going to be our 4th trip in the last 5 years, but it seems like this time around, everyone's fired up, and it's just on a whole nother level of excitement.
Have you walked by and talked to some of the Kansas City folk that have made it out to Las Vegas? I mean, what are they saying?
I'm so sorry, I did not get that, what you just said.
That's okay. Let me try again. I just want to, I know you've been in Las Vegas for a little bit. Have you had a run-in with some of the Kansas City folk that have made it out for this big game? What are they saying?
You know what? We have met a handful of Kansas City folk. A lot of the KC folk that we've met are transplants from Kansas City here to Vegas, and they've been here for a long time, and they really wear that flag proudly because now, you know, during the regular season, this is Raider Nation. So Kansas City really wears that flag proudly here in Vegas. They call it Arrowhead West for Allegiant Stadium in reference to the Raiders. But there's a handful of Kansas City folk trickling in here and there, and they're all pumped, ready to go. We ran into a bunch down by the Bellagio here yesterday, and then I think most of the Kansas City contingent is going to be arriving here the closer we get to the weekend. Probably a lot today, probably even more tomorrow. And I've even talked to a handful. They're going to fly in on Sunday morning, go to the Super Bowl, and then fly out first thing Monday morning because you got to be back to work, right?
Bill, I know you have a busy schedule, a lot to cover for everyone back home in Kansas City. I just want to ask this. You got a lot of new fans with the Swifties. From the Kansas City guy himself, what do they need to know about becoming Chiefs fans and really leaning into the team spirit here?
I'm so sorry. There's just a lot of noise going on, and I have a really hard time understanding what you're saying.
That's all right. Hey, Bill, I think we're going to let you go. We seem to be having some audio issues on our end. I just want to thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you guys so much. Atlanta, it is great to talk to you, and hopefully we can do it again. We'll get these audio issues taken care of.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, Bill, thank you so much. All right, taking you back out here. Hopefully y'all can hear me a little better, but I just want to continue to talk about some of the preparations as we talk to Kansas City, the new fans that are going to be rolling in this time around. Maybe you weren't a Chiefs fan last year, but you are this year. Everything that you are going to want to know, all of the camaraderie, the team building, the excitement that is wrapping up, taking you out to this reporter story from our very own sister station, again, Kansas City, KCTV, talking about the expression and the artwork that goes into the Chiefs fandom.
How about those Chiefs? Hey, what's up? My name is Phil Schaefer, aka Psych Style, and my business is painting murals for Chiefs Kingdom. It's great to be a local artist, to be able to partner with your favorite team. The Kingdom has a lot of strengths right here in Kansas City, and this is where it starts. We've been really blessed for the last few years. The Chiefs have been excellent. The art around town has been awesome. What better way to show your love for your hometown team by having hometown artists represent in the community, doing dope murals, doing dope fan engagements, letting it all out, getting ready for the big game. These murals are set up for folks to come into the city. Usually they're coming out from the burbs and they're saying, okay, there's a vibe here. The Kingdom is really representing. The Chiefs are, embedded in the community all over town. And so we have murals in Midtown, Westport, out in Overland Park, downtown, River Market, all over. So folks can go get their scavenger hunt on, find different murals. The idea that these murals kind of like come from artists that are local, teaming up with the local team and really giving the Kingdom here in Kansas City something to look forward to when they go out and get their selfies and get their hype videos made. Folks love it here, and folks want to let everybody else know how great it is here.
All right, and that just a preview for you at the fanfare that is building up, taking you back out live now to Allegiant Stadium. As you can see, Las Vegas looking quite beautiful as always, but especially as she prepares for the millions of eyes that will lay on her. Fun fact, actually, here is a map of the fandom that exists across the U.S. You have the San Francisco 49ers, the Kansas City Chiefs, and you can see the states that they have just taken by storm. A lot of fans tuning in for this Sunday's big game. But looking at Georgia, Kansas City Chiefs seem to be the team that most people here in Georgia are subscribed to, are going to be leaning into as the hopefully winning champions. But then more west, you have the San Francisco 49ers, and that is where a lot of people will tell you they are the talent, they are the sheer NFL presence that is going to take it this year. So a lot of wagers going down, and sports betting is a serious game. Nobody will tell you better that than the people who really prepare months in advance, track the Super Bowl, track the conversations that are happening to bet on these games and to hopefully come out on top. Now, if you are somebody who's tuning in for the Super Bowl experience for the first time, I want to take you out to Las Vegas just one more time as we take you through the experience that you could have not just on Sunday, but in the days ahead.
Well, we are here at the Super Bowl fan experience inside of the Mandalay Bay Convention Center. Now, we are getting a sneak peek today. It actually opens up to the public tomorrow. Now, this is a tradition for the NFL to have these experiences in the Super Bowl hosting cities, so those who aren't able to go to the actual Super Bowl game, they can still feel like they are a part, of Super Bowl activities. So they are going to have tons of activations here. I mean, it is huge. Over 700,000 square feet, of different activities set up here inside of the convention center. So they're going to have photo opportunities. They're going to have meet and greets with people like Eli Manning and Jerry Rice. And of course, you have the iconic photo opportunity with the Vince Lombardi trophy. So many great things to do here for fans to come out and feel like they are just in all of the action for the Super Bowl. Reporting in Las Vegas, I'm Danny Maston.
And not just the Super Bowl, by the way. We have a bit of a local connection. I want to take you out to a story now of an Atlanta woman who won quite the Super Bowl experience, one that takes place in the night. Check this out.
And I got a call that said that we won, and it's just very surreal.
She's not affiliated with either team playing in this year's Super Bowl, but Atlanta resident Jametta Barden says she'll be as nervous as any of the players the night before the big game and might not get any shut-eye during her Super Bowl sleepover.
I probably won't. I'm just thinking about what I will be doing in here.
Barden bested about 20,000 other entrants to be chosen to sleep in a stadium suite the night before the Super Bowl. It's called the Ultimate Upgrade Contest, and it's put on by Courtyard by Marriott annually, the official hotel of the NFL. Barden is bringing her son, Chance Mack, with her when she arrives in Las Vegas next week to claim her prize.
I think the Allegiant Stadium is incredible.
Mack's mother agrees.
So I've always said that Atlanta Stadium is the best in the NFL. We have an amazing stadium. This one is really, really swanky.
The winners were even greeted by Atlanta Falcons star running back Bijan Robinson inside their souped-up suite.
Just for the Super Bowl being here right in the middle of the Strip, it's going to be a fun experience for everybody here.
The suite is about what you might expect. It looks like a spacious upscale hotel room with a view of the field at about the 10-yard line. And when Super Bowl Sunday morning comes,
I'm just looking forward to waking up and just being able to look out at the stadium. That is unreal. That is unreal.
All right, and we talk about the Super Bowl, the experiences that go into it, but a big thing that a lot of people don't think about that involves a lot of preparation is security and making sure that everyone's having a safe time, and that doesn't just include the ground. As you can see, the stadium already exposed to the skies, and that is where you will find some pretty impressive security measures.
Strap in, we're along for the ride in the back of a California Air National Guard F-15 fighter, flying near the speed of sound over Owens Valley, California. Fighters like these from the 144th Fighter Wing will be NORAD's first responders should an aircraft pierce the 30-mile no-fly zone around Allegiant Stadium during Sunday's Super Bowl.
They get on you pretty quickly.
This is a training mission. Major Christopher LaCroix is at the controls. We are playing the role of the airspace violator after crossing into the simulated no-fly zone referred to as a TFR and not answering air traffic control. Fighters are scrambled to intercept us. Within seconds, this intimidating sight, a fully armed F-15 off our wing.
You have been intercepted by armed air defense fighters.
The fighter pilots will make several maneuvers like rocking their wings along with radio calls trying to get the errant pilot's attention. If that doesn't work, they call this a headbutt, flying right in front of the unresponsive plane.
If I'm focused just in front of me, I won't see the peripherals. So last resort that we're going to try to do is go right out in front of them to get their attention.
Once they have that pilot's attention, they'll be directed to follow the fighters and land at the nearest airport. If not,
we're going to go and prevent them from penetrating that TFR.
We're actively being intercepted by two F-15 fighters.
So here he is rocking his wings. When he cuts out in front of you, that should get your attention.
Airspace violations are overwhelmingly unintended or accidental. It last happened during a Super Bowl in 2018, prompting fighters to be scrambled.
Well, you guys are watching the game. We're going to be watching the skies.
Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Las Vegas.
Well, hello everybody. Brooks Baptiste here. Let me hold on, wait a minute. See, I was all excited, and I'm still excited. Here we are, Brooks Baptiste here, and Gravir Denza. Gravir, you know we have got to talk about the Super Bowl.
Yes.
This is not just the big topic today and tomorrow, and of course on Sunday, but this has been the topic for quite some time.
Yes, because it's right here.
Right
on
here.
Atlanta News First. So we're like uber hyped about it, right?
We sure are. And you know what? One of the greatest things about the Super Bowl, we know people are going to be tuned in for a couple of things. Commercials.
Right.
You're a fan of the commercials, right, Gravir?
I like, okay, so I don't like the weirdo commercials that I don't understand. I don't know how many of you at home feel like that, but like sometimes you're watching and you're like,
I didn't get
I don't really understand what they're trying to sell. But I love the ones that make you,
emotional ones.
The Clydesdales, the
yeah.
Budweiser commercial is always awesome.
Those get you every time.
Yeah.
But you know, Gravir, I think that's part of of their plan is to leave you hanging. Then you have to pull out your phone and say, let me go look up what that was about.
They spend a lot of money doing that, don't they?
Exactly.
Right?
So that's all a part of it. But you know what? A lot of folks talking about the halftime show as well with Atlanta's very own Usher. So before we talk about that, we want to talk about the fan experience, and that's where Jared Hill has been in Vegas, kind of giving us a front row seat to all of the action that's out there. Take a look.
We are the champions, baby.
Fans are feeling lucky as Super Bowl fever takes over Las Vegas.
Oh, you know it, here to see the special week going on.
David Munoz, here from California, hopes his 49ers can win their first championship in nearly 2 decades, so he can deck out his jacket with another patch.
I got room for one more.
Where y'all from?
Kansas City, Missouri. Hi, what a
Tisha and Julius Ward, like most of the nearly 500,000 people expected to fill Las Vegas this weekend, don't have tickets to the game. But they say that's not what matters.
This is historical, right? Kansas City hadn't had a Super Bowl win for a number of years, and now we just been on it back to back. So we just want to support our boys.
Thursday night, the NFL Honors, football's version of the Oscars, paid tribute to the game's biggest stars on and off the field. Baltimore Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson was named the Associated Press Most Valuable Player for the second time. And
Please welcome the Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year, Cam the Man Hayward.
There's no act too small. There's no act too big. We are all trying to make a difference in so many people's lives.
back on the Strip, this pair of Falcons fans from Atlanta just here for a good time.
We're here to support the Super Bowl, the 49ers, and the Chiefs. We just love football.
As more fans continue to pour in, the Neon City keeps showing out.
It is on fire. I can say Vegas is on fire.
Jared Hill, CBS News, Las Vegas.
I don't know. Did you guys see that? We actually had Atlanta Falcons fans that were there in some of that video. And one of the people that Jared Hill actually talked to.
Hey, by the way, can I just have to say this. So those of you that watch us on Atlanta News First in the morning, you know Jared Hill always does reports for us, right?
Yeah.
He's always all buttoned up. He's just in New York. You know, Jared
Yeah.
Hill has the latest from Capitol Hill and da-da-da. So it has been so fun and really kind of funny to see him in Vegas.
In this element,
covering the
right?
Super Bowl because he has been just so great.
Oh, yeah.
I love his energy, and I think he's having a good time.
And you know it's funny, in full transparency, as we had him doing a talk back with us today during our 9 a.m. hour,
Right.
we kind of teased him a little bit. We were like, we know you're not getting any rest out there. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm working.
Oh,
We're like,
sure he
oh,
is.
yeah.
What
You
happens
maybe-
in Vegas stays in Vegas, and we don't know what's going
The
on
world
behind
will
the
never
scenes.
know. But it looks like it is going to be a good game. Of
Right.
course, we've got the Kansas City Chiefs against the San Francisco 49ers. Yes, the Atlanta Falcons are not in the game.
So do you have a team that, I mean, are you rooting for one or the other, or do you care?
I'll keep it real with you. It doesn't really matter to me who wins. I do want to see probably the Chiefs win before I see the 49ers win.
Yeah.
Also, but you know what? It's going to be a lot of Taylor Swift action out there too, Gafir.
Yes.
Just got to know your thoughts about it.
Okay, so I have to say I'm not a Taylor Swift hater. I'm
Okay.
not a Swiftie.
Okay.
I'm not by any means a Swiftie. But, man, I can really respect the businesswoman that she is
Yeah.
and the songwriter that she is. And frankly, she is laughing all the way to the bank. And I'm like,
Exactly.
you haters out there,
So
she
look.
doesn't care. And the other part that I have to say I kind of like, all she's doing is supporting her man. I mean, she's
Right.
like, hey, that's my fella out there. And anybody's girlfriend would be there doing the same thing.
Well, I do think that's probably the hard part about when people have so much to say about her.
Right.
And again, you could be a fan, you don't have to be a fan. She's not the one controlling the camera being pointed on her. She's
Exactly.
just up there in the box seats enjoying life, you know, just enjoying that game, rooting on for her man, as we say. But it's unfortunate that she kind of gets trapped in the middle of everything, as if she's the one that's punching the shots in that control room, saying, put the camera on me. She's not even doing anything crazy that would make you want to put the camera on her, but...
Yeah. And don't you think Travis Kelce's playing a little better just knowing she's out there watching? And, you know,
mean,
he's got a little more.
He's just that good anyway. So,
Well, he is
as much
good.
as I hate to
He
say
is
it,
good.
but
I have
I'm
to
sure
tell
it
you that
doesn't hurt that he's got his boo watching him.
My daddy, who is just about 89 years old, doesn't know a lot about football. I know he's not watching the stream, so I can say that. But he does enjoy watching the game. So I was talking to him about it, and he goes, you know, that young man that plays for Kansas City, he's very good. He was talking about Mahomes.
Oh, Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes. I was like, okay, Daddy. So I said, well, is that who you're going to root for? Yes, he's a nice young man.
And I think he's headed in the right direction. I think he knows who might come out on top. So speaking of coming out on top, everybody and all artists want the opportunity to be on what many would probably call the world's biggest stage for music.
Right.
The Super Bowl halftime show. Gavir, this is between 12 and 15 minutes of where these artists get to go on that stage and prove that they are deserving of this spot. It doesn't take a long time for you to realize if they're really made for the spot. But can you just imagine how much preparation goes into getting that set ready?
The set, the pressure, all of it. And now we've got Usher, Atlanta's own, who is going to be performing, right?
So we had to talk with his family because we're his extended family,
Right.
all of us here in Atlanta. But we had to talk with his actual family, his mom and his brother, about what they're excited to see, and what they say this has been 30 years in the making.
From the studio that created a star.
Hello, welcome to my table. Bring your girlfriends, everything paid for.
To a brother who helped produce the platform.
Just the tapping in part to your artistry.
And a mother who set the stage.
I was there in the beginning when no one believed.
Usher's family is looking forward to watching him shine on the Super Bowl stage.
He letting them play football at his concert.
That part. The 8-time Grammy Award-winning artist has topped every Billboard chart, performed around the world, but now he plans to make Super Bowl history in Las Vegas.
The Super Bowl in Las Vegas.
You are getting ready to be seen by 130 million people. You're getting ready to make history. The last person that did it, it was 121. I'm claiming it, 130 million.
From a young child, Usher's mom, Janetta Patton, always knew he was a superstar with no limit. But to be chosen for this, is a whole new ball game.
I was so happy, full of joy, because I knew all the struggles, behind the scenes that was going on. But like to see him on that stage actually performing.
The global star still has roots in Atlanta.
This slow jam especially dedicated, but better wait for the night to end. Come on.
His brother J-Lac, a producer and writer, has been helping write the Usher story since the beginning, penning songs and creating platinum hits with his brother.
Just focusing on the ideas of where he is in his life at the time.
J-Lac opened Star Studios in Doraville to open new doors for Black creators.
The blueprint for Black artists and also representing us.
This is the indication of where we have progressed in the world.
And to reach a new tempo while ushering in a new era for Black history and entertainers.
From the day that I actually heard he was in the Super Bowl, I'm like, okay, it's about time. And I've been at peace because I know when he hits that stage, I'm telling you right now, he's going to annihilate that stage.
That was Tori Cooper reporting there for us.
That
and
is so
as
cool.
his mom just said, when he
Yes.
hits that stage, he's not leaving anything out there. I can imagine that, Gravere.
Oh, so we were just talking while Tori's story was playing about who actually selects the performer for the halftime show, because there have been some big ones, in the past, and apparently it's the host city,
They get a list?
which is Las Vegas in this case, and they pick from a short list that the NFL provides of like the top 4 or 5 performers of the year. Of course, Taylor Swift probably would have been on that list,
Probably.
right? But she's like, no, I'm sorry. I'm going to be sitting up there in the suite watching my
She said,
watching my guy. I'm not doing a halftime show.
Right, I don't have time to get ready and be all stressed out for a halftime show.
But I think Usher was a good selection.
Well, of course, you also have to think about just some of the history in just the past year or so with Usher in Las Vegas. He's had his residency there, has had nothing but sold out shows.
Yep.
I mean, to the point where they were extending the residency to give people enough of an opportunity to see him. I heard from many people who I know who ended up going out to Las Vegas just for that show, and Gravere, they said it was amazing.
Oh, I bet it was.
I can only imagine what this Super Bowl halftime show is going to be like. It's got to be something fresh because there were so many people from all parts of the country that came to Vegas to see him during his residency.
Right.
But there's got to be a couple of familiar parts.
So he's got a new album, right?
Yes, he's got a new album, and let me give you the correct title because I don't want to make it up.
I know.
And this is how new it is. We literally have been talking about it today.
We have,
but it
he's-
is called, here we go, where's my, Coming Home.
Coming Home.
Fitting,
okay.
right?
He is going to be coming home, by the way. He's performing here.
In October, yeah.
In October.
Yep.
But back to Vegas and, his performance there, he's probably going to play some stuff from his new album. You think, right?
Okay, so let me just say this.
Okay.
Most artists,
Yeah.
understand that when they're on that kind of
Hang on.
that when there are,
I'm going to do
you gonna get it.
something
Okay. So I'll talk to you guys really quick. Let me tell you this: most artists, for the most part, will make sure, in order to keep the crowd where they need to be, to keep the energy going well, they are going to perform the popular songs, the songs that you know. Because here's the thing, Gravere: if he comes out singing something new off the album, we're looking at him like, Usher, we don't know that.
That's the thing. Now, I don't go to a lot of concerts. You probably
Right.
go way more shows than I do. But when I have gone, you want to hear the stuff that you can sing along with and that you
Correct.
know. By the way, this is the list
Okay.
that the
NFL
that the
gave out
NFL
to
provided. Taylor Swift,
Okay, of course.
Miley Cyrus,
Interesting.
Harry Styles,
Okay, I can see that.
Bad Bunny.
Yeah, Bad Bunny is big. Yeah, Bad Bunny's
Seriously?
big these days right now.
Bad
Yeah,
Bunny's
yeah.
big? I don't know
Yeah.
anything about Bad Bunny. Jack Harlow. I think that's a no-brainer.
Jack Harlow to do a full halftime show. I don't
Yeah,
know about
no.
that.
I don't.
You don't have
here,
that
let
many
me go do this
hits.
back to-
I can only think of like 2.
I don't think that's, so we came up with our own. What do you think he's going to start with?
Okay, so here, if I could say what he's going to begin with, I'm going to go with OMG. You know,
Okay.
the one with Will I Am and all that, and then
Right.
he's going to end, just guessing, with Yeah. That's
Okay.
what I'm thinking. Gravere, I know Yeah's got to be on your list somewhere.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Do we have our list? Because all
I
of
don't
us
know
on the
if we
morning
have.
show.
I don't think we have our list right now.
Maria, did we get our list?
I don't know if we're able to have our list.
We
No.
do. We've
Oh,
got it.
Do we have it?
We've
Okay,
got
wait a
it.
minute.
If we can find
I just
it.
need to find it.
So all of
Where
us
is
on
it
the
at? Let
morning
me see.
show came up with, what we thought was going to be first and what he was going to end with.
Okay, there was.
Oh,
Okay,
never
okay, all
mind.
good. We were wondering if we had the list. Bottom line, I think on just about between me, Gravere, Rodney,
Right.
and Ella, everybody had "Yeah" as one of the songs. I
Right.
think that's a no-brainer.
Mhm.
But it's the other one that we're still trying to figure out.
So we'll see, right?
And okay, and then Lana Harris is over here, and she
Oh,
shouted.
she's itching to say something. Come over here.
She was
No,
just
come
look.
here.
So
Come
Lana
here.
is saying. So Lana, you're thinking what now?
These two were so entertaining. I was just watching over to the side because it's such a great conversation.
What do you think?
Confessions gotta be thrown in there somewhere.
Confessions.
These are my confessions. Just when I thought I said. As soon
Okay.
as the beat drops, I think that'll be good. All I don't want to hear is new music. I don't want to hear any
Yeah,
new music
see?
on this stage.
Okay. Told you.
That's it.
Okay.
Everybody's
Thank you, Lana
feeling
Harris.
that way.
Guest appearance by Lana Harris.
Guest appearance by Lana Harris. And you know what? Bottom line, halftime show is going to be where it's at. So make
And
sure
you know what it's
tune
going to
in.
be? It's going to be lit.
Okay, so I'm going to get us off of the screen so that we can get Miss Ella Dorset. We have had such a great
We've
time
had
with
a
you.
good
Oh,
time.
Gravere, we did it. We did it.
We did.
Let's give you this live look out here in Vegas right now at Allegiant Stadium where all of that action is going to be going down. Ella Dorsey is coming on in. You know what, Ella? You had your two songs that you thought might have been, what he opens with and closes with.
Yeah.
Tell us what you're thinking.
Well, same as you. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God is gonna be the way he opens it. Just like that, just feels like an opening song. Like like the build up, the lights go down.
And it hits everybody.
Oh my
Not just one,
God.
not just one audience. It's the whole audience.
Right. That just feels like an opener song. I think Brooks and I are right on the money with that. Then he's probably gonna hit some R&B, Confessions, My Boo. You Got It Bad. All right. Can you see him bringing Alicia Keys out? I sure can. He's got to hit Love in This Club at some point, right? I feel like that's a big classic. And then he's got to do Yeah, obviously. Maybe he ends with Yeah, maybe he ends with Love at This Club, but he should probably bring Lil Jon and Jeezy out, Alicia Keys coming out. I don't know. Look, this is one of the Super Bowls where I couldn't care less about who's playing. You guys know I already went through that rant with you yesterday. I actually will probably be asleep because I'm working this entire weekend. So I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Staying up till like 8:30 to watch the halftime show might not be in the cards for me. Okay, wanted to get you started with, and I know Ronnie did this earlier, but the weather right now in Las Vegas is not great. It's 40 degrees. There's some showers in the vicinity, and they're kind of in a mountainous area. So there's definitely some snow falling in those mountains. It's going to be a chilly day today, but they will clear out. The rest of the weekend over there in Las Vegas looks pretty nice. Highs in the low mid-50s, lows in the mid-30s with lots of sunshine. So not bad for them there. Zooming over to us here, closer to home, I hope you aren't planning on having a Super Bowl party outside on Sunday because it's going to be a mess, okay? There's some showers to our north. Excuse me. Oh, my goodness. Whew, that's what happens when alarm goes off at 3 a.m. I just can't. You literally can't help the yawn. There's a little bit of light rain happening up in the mountains right now. Generally, I don't think we're going to see much rain today. We also have canceled the First Alert Weather Day for tomorrow because once again, it just looks like there's going to be only rain to the north. So Saturday's looking pretty good, guys. It's going to be pretty cloudy. You might see a little bit of sunshine, but we're going to hit like the upper 60s, low 70s. So it's going to end up feeling really great. Sunday, we've kept the First Alert Weather Day. That's for Super Bowl Sunday. You're going to see rain in the morning and then again in the evening. So let's take you through the weekend forecast. Again, if you live from Rome to Ellijay, Northwest Georgia, even the mountains, even like Cartersville and Bartow County to the north, you're going to see rain. It looks pretty rainy in the mountains tomorrow. So I'm sorry if you live up there. It does look pretty rainy tomorrow afternoon. For Metro Atlanta area south, it's going to be dry tomorrow. Again, with temperatures near 70 degrees. Maybe a stray light shower early in the evening on Saturday. Then overnight, the front's really slowing down. So it looks like it actually doesn't come in until Sunday morning. Some heavy rain in that same area Sunday morning. The rain will move south into the area, so just scattered light showers for Metro Atlanta Sunday around the time you eat lunch. Then we get a little break in the rain through the afternoon, and then more rain moves in Sunday evening, certainly by the time the game wraps up. So Sunday, mid-60s, could see a few rumbles of thunder in the evening, but it doesn't look like we're going to see severe weather really at all on Sunday. However, the first system that comes through this weekend is due to this stationary front. The second system is going to lift in, that comes in Monday, is a completely separate system, and it's going to have a little bit more juice with it. So we could see some strong storms Sunday night into Monday, especially Monday afternoon, okay? Not ruling out a few strong storms on Monday. So Monday's also a first alert weather day. The severe risk is low, but it's not zero, okay? Because we are going to be in the 60s. It's a lot of energy. I wanted to show you this. This is called the Supercell Index, which takes into account the turning with winds with height in the atmosphere. It gives a good idea of where we could see tornadic storms. Your timestamp is on the top left. So by Sunday evening, there's just a low end. See, the scale is green is really low, and then once you get into the oranges and the reds, and especially the pinks, that's really a lot of wind shear that really indicates to us we could see tornadoes. So you can see just a low end risk Sunday evening, but then as we head into Monday morning, that becomes a little bit higher. More like a level 2 risk for a few stronger storms, and that could continue into Monday afternoon, okay? So just a little perspective there. So here's the rain timeline. Mostly dry today, only isolated showers tomorrow, rainy Sunday morning, stormy Sunday evening, and stormy through the day on Monday. Looks like the rain will last at least through Monday morning, but it could possibly last to Monday afternoon as well. But I would plan on a really messy morning commute on Monday, okay? All in all, this is the rainfall totals. We're looking at anywhere between an additional inch of rain to over 3 inches of rain in that northwest corner that's going to see showers tomorrow. It definitely has the highest rainfall totals from Rome to LJ to Canton. You could see some isolated flooding, although we've had like a couple of really dry days. So I think the ground will do a pretty good job soaking up this rain. And also another piece of good news, guys. If you guys remember, like 3 months ago, we were in a really bad drought. A lot of us were in a significant or extreme drought. The rain that we've gotten this winter has really helped us out. You can see now only Northwest Georgia is still just a few areas, Union County, Fannin County, and like extreme Northwest Chattooga County are still in a moderate drought. The yellow means it's still dry, but this is the area, the exact area that's going to see like 3 inches of rain. So I think after this rain system, we will be completely out of the drought, which is really good news. Really good news. Because if you are in a drought as you head towards spring, especially if you're in a drought heading into summer, it can be really bad. So not too bad, guys. Jen is going to be on in a few minutes. Atlanta News First at noon. She'll be previewing the forecast. And I will be in this weekend for Courtney. Courtney is in Montana visiting with her. Her and her husband are out there. So I'm going to be in tomorrow morning and Sunday morning. And then Jen and Fred will be in Sunday night after the game. So we'll have all hands on deck throughout this weekend. But just make indoor plans to watch the game inside, right? And then you'll want to, just stay tuned after the game or tune back in Monday morning because it's going to be real messy and we will see the chance for some stronger storms Monday. All right, I am going to stop talking. My voice needs a break. I'm going to go home and take a big old nap. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I hope that the team you're rooting for wins. I hope that you're rooting for the 49ers. I'm throwing all kinds of shade. And can't wait to hear you guys' feedback on what you thought about Usher's halftime show. All right?
All right, Ella Dorsey joining us with your weekend forecast. Again, really important that you make a weather plan, as you just heard from Ella. If you were with us a little earlier, Rodney jumped on and gave you a little bit of a Vegas forecast for you. If you are one of the lucky people that got to make it out there, a lot goes into making the Super Bowl happen. And between the preparation, between the excitement, between the fanfare, so many people here at home making their own little traditions and their own little plans, and new football fans joining each and every year. It is really an exciting time and a time for the country to just come together. I almost want to say the Super Bowl is like an unofficial holiday, if you will, at least here in the U.S., most definitely. I am going to take you onto the ground on Media Day, where we got to talk to some of the teams, both 49ers and the Chiefs, and see how they're feeling ahead of Sunday's big game.
Super Bowl opening night, formerly known as Media Day, but it's really become a lot more fan-friendly in the last few years. But make no mistake about it, it is still controlled chaos. Take a look behind me as the Chiefs are meeting with the media. The star players go to pods. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, as you might imagine, getting the most attention. And because the Super Bowl is out in the Pacific time zone this year, a lot of the stuff is happening late at night out there on the East Coast, so things are happening into the wee hours of the morning. Now, each team's players and coaches have to be available to the media for 1 hour on this night, but they've also done something a little different this year in Las Vegas. The fans are here. Now, fans have gone to the media night festivities before, but it's always been in a different venue. This is the first year that they've done it inside the stadium where the game is going to be played on Sunday. And as you can see, the whole lower bowl of Allegiant Stadium is filled with fans who are trying to get their own Super Bowl experience. Probably aren't going to be able to go to the game on Sunday, so here's a chance for them to see the players up close and maybe get a chance to get an autograph or two before the players kind of go into their game-focused preparation after this event is over. Now, throughout the week, they'll be doing their practices and their press conferences, and then things will start to pick up with the parties and festivities as well. It's going to be quite the week in Las Vegas because Las Vegas is ready to roll out the red carpet, and they're certainly used to doing that. I'm Kevin Bollinger inside Allegiant Stadium at the Super Bowl in Las Vegas, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
And between all of that preparation, the moment comes on Sunday and everyone tunes in. We want to talk a little bit about the things to watch out for. If you are, sorry about that. If you are making it down to Vegas, you already know about all that's going to go into making a game like this happen, making a show, performance, entertainment, commercials, all of that come together in one cohesive moment for the Super Bowl 2024, Super Bowl 58, but no better people to tell you what to watch out for when that game does begin than our very own Atlanta News First sports team. We actually had them come on here earlier today to talk about the excitement and what you'll want to tune in for if you're maybe a first-time fan or someone who really loves the Super Bowl and needs some tips from the professionals. Here is Atlanta News First Bailey Burmaster and Lee Smith with what to watch out for.
Chiefs and 49ers, I'm Bailey Burmaster alongside Lee Smith.
What's up?
We're going to talk all about this game, some fun aspects, but let's talk about specifically the matchup. Lee, we'll start with you. What are you watching in this game when it comes to these two teams?
I want to see if the 49ers defense, their strong suit, can match up against the Chiefs' strong suit, which is Patrick Mahomes. I want to see if they're legitimate, and because it feels like they've been the best defense all year by far. So I want to see if Patrick Mahomes can possibly pull out some magic, or if it's going to be the 49ers defense showing up.
At what point do we start considering Patrick Mahomes one of the greatest and competing with Tom Brady if he wins another Super Bowl?
I mean, what, 3 quarterbacks have ever won 3? Brady, Manning, Brady, Montana, and it would be Patrick Mahomes. So after this
we
one,
have to have the conversation.
I would say he's probably going to be in the top 3 after this for sure. I mean, like, who else do you got? I mean,
well, and on the other side, you have Brock Purdy. So these two quarterbacks know a little bit about each other. They were both in the Big 12. Patrick Mahomes at Texas Tech, Brock Purdy at Iowa State. People don't know a whole lot about him.
Yeah.
But that is the situation. And Brock Purdy, obviously getting overlooked. There were some interesting comments, and I don't know if you saw these, so I'll summarize. Cam Newton has his own show, podcast, talks about
Everyone's
things.
Got a podcast, yep.
And there was this narrative out there that he was not a fan of Brock Purdy because he didn't think he was a great quarterback.
Yeah.
And didn't even say he was a game manager, really, because you don't have to manage the game when you have George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey and all these great offensive pieces.
Okay.
Which, whether you believe in that or not, but he talked to Dan Patrick while on the Super Bowl, and I thought he articulated his feelings very well. I get what he's trying to say about Brock Purdy, but I also think you have to give Brock Purdy some flowers for all the success he's found with the 49ers after being Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, well, yeah, for sure.
Like, come on.
I mean, almost goes undrafted. Now he's in the Super Bowl. Has that
Well,
ever happened?
And here's the interesting thing too, Lee, that I do agree with Cam on. He said, we are in such this day and age where not everyone has to be the greatest of all time. Some
Yeah.
people can just be
Yeah.
good and like you can leave it at that.
Right.
And why can't we be critical?
Right.
Especially people who have played the game. And I was like, you know what? Like, I kind of agree with that.
Well, the thing is, like, okay, so Brock Purdy is not the most talented quarterback playing in this game.
Mhm.
Brock Purdy is not, I would say, even in the top 5 best quarterbacks playing in the game today.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have to be.
No.
Guess what? It's okay to be a game manager. You know how many game managers would love to be labeled that and be in the Super Bowl right now? Literally every quarterback would love to be a game manager and be in the Super Bowl because it's all about winning championships.
Correct.
All right, you win a couple of them, and guess what? He's no longer a game manager. I
This
don't
is
really
true.
I don't really understand that. I mean, isn't that the thing you want to be known for? Is winning? So game manager or not, yes, he has it maybe a little easier than a lot of other quarterbacks because they have a great defense and they are great. But at the end of the day, if it's all about wins, then what are you talking about, Cam Newton?
What I think is interesting too is when you think about people that are playing in this Super Bowl who really want that Super Bowl, whether it's Christian McCaffrey, who was traded to the 49ers and now he's found a lot of success over the last couple of months and he's there now, or whoever, you have to think about Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah. Yeah.
He has been to the big game and lost. And he says those stick with you forever.
Well.
I think if anyone wants it the most, it might be Kyle Shanahan.
Well, not only did he lose, he lost in literally the worst fashion you could ever lose a Super Bowl.
Correct.
Like, there's him, and then there's everyone else is way down here. What happened in 2016, and then everyone else. So, yeah, I think he's got a lot riding on this, but if he can somehow win and get the monkey off his back, then it obviously is going to help his short-term career, long-term career, even his legacy, you know?
Yeah, I'm with you. I do want to talk about the media day for the Super Bowl. It is straight chaos on Monday,
Always
on the
is.
Mondays for the Super Bowl. And I just love how unserious the media is at these events. Like, yes, there's some questions asked that are relevant, and then there's some so out of left field. And I wanted to go over them. We'll start with Patrick Mahomes.
All right.
He was asked about his dad getting a third DUI and just kept it very, I don't want to get into it. He's doing good. That's a family matter, rightfully so. But then someone asked him to do his best Kermit the Frog impression.
Okay.
Full stop. We'll just stop it right there. There's nothing else that needs to be said. And then you had Brock Purdy, who was asked how he felt about his celebrity lookalike doppelganger being Lee Harvey Oswald. And
Okay.
I think his face kind of says it all. If you go look at the interview, it's very much like,
I think my face says it all. What? Why? Like, out of all the things you could possibly, like, ask and discuss, like, why that?
Can you imagine?
Like,
So
it's I feel like Super Bowl media day is just a circus. Like,
It is.
There's like hardly any actual substance.
correct.
But hey, whatever.
But
It's cool.
hey, whatever. It is what it is. Let's talk about some local ties and some numbers in the NFL. We've put together some stories over the week of local ties, connections, dogs in the Super Bowl. We talked to Keith Maloof at Norcross High School. And he actually, if you didn't know this, at various points in the year, the last couple of years, he's had the most NFL players in the NFL come from Norcross High School. And they have the most right now with 5.
Pretty impressive stuff. Really impressive.
Yeah, there's more than 140 former Georgia high school players who were on active rosters in the NFL this season. There are a total of 10 players from the state of Georgia who are on teams in the Super Bowl 58. Now, not all of them are active or will play or will even dress
Right.
out, but it is worth mentioning. But Norcross always putting up some players. Keith Maloof really has a dynasty there. let's see, his over 28 years as a head coach and 224-99 record, winning percentage of 69. He was actually named the 2023 Falcons Coach of the Year, and because of that, him and his wife Lisa will actually head to Super Bowl 58, so some fun times
pretty cool.
with them. They'll get to see Robert Beal Jr., who went to Norcross and plays for the 49ers, so very cool. If you're curious where Georgia ranks and everything, here's a little picture for you. So Texas produces the most NFL players with 187. Then it's Florida with 178, California 173, and then Georgia with 150. Norcross has 13 players in total. 10 of those were drafted, and there's 5 of them that are on the current roster. So it says a lot about Norcross. It says a lot about Keith Maloof in general.
Oh, that
as
there says a lot about Georgia. My goodness.
Yeah, and if you needed to know too as well, there is a Georgia player on at least one on every NFL team in the league, and
pretty cool.
What's interesting about that too, some other schools that produce some top tier athletes, not just Norcross, but Greater Atlanta Christian, Hillgrove, and Peachtree Ridge High School have 4 players right now apiece in the NFL. If you were curious what teams in the league have the most guys from Georgia, the Falcons with 9. The Ravens were next with 8, who were in that AFC Championship game, but also ultimately lost. Yeah. And then the Chiefs with 6. So 2 of the teams with the most Georgia players, one of the Final 4.
All right.
And in the Super Bowl, nonetheless. So very cool connections, local ties to everything. But Lee, you've actually been to a Super Bowl. What can you tell the people who maybe have not had the leisure of going to one?
I went to Super Bowl 53 that was here in Atlanta. The one where I think it was 13-3 was the final score, where Tom Brady won his last ring with the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
They actually beat Sean McVay's Rams. It is kind of crazy. I remember we went over at I want to say the game was at 7, and we probably got there at 2 o'clock for the media, because the media checkpoints, the security was it was
wild?
Insane. You had to go every 10 feet. I mean, there was some sort of law enforcement officer, some sort of security guard. And I just remember it was a hassle trying to get in. That's why we were there hours early, and then we got to set up all of our stuff. But then, man, once the game got going, it was smooth sailing.
Any crazy stories, interactions?
Nothing super crazy. No, for me it was like a normal game.
Okay.
As soon as we got into the stadium, although what the cool part was after the game, I was actually in the Patriots press conference after they won, and it's kind of surreal having Bill Belichick and Tom Brady right there, 20 feet in front of you. It was pretty insane, and now I look back realizing that it was his last with both of theirs last with the Patriots. So that was a pretty cool moment to be able to be there and hear all of their stuff after the game. Yeah, so that was cool.
I'm curious, not everyone tunes in for the game.
Yeah.
They will tune in for halftime commercials.
Yep.
Is there one commercial that you remember ever sticking out to you?
I don't know why, because I'm not really even a huge horse fan, but I always remember the Budweisers and the Clydesdales. Ever since I was a kid, I just remember the Clydesdales. And yeah, that's really it. A lot of the other beer commercials are pretty funny. They're usually on the better end of the commercials.
Mm-hmm.
Goodness, I can't remember. What was the one with the puppy monkey baby?
Oh,
Puppy monkey baby.
I remember that. Doritos usually has some good ones. There's always good ones. More importantly, I need you to name your top 3 halftime performances.
Ooh, top 3? I really like Prince's.
I think everyone would give Prince number one.
I think that was probably
like the rain, Purple Rain, the
I'm
guitar.
trying to think of who else.
Beyonce has to be up there for me.
Beyonce, okay.
I just loved hers. I thought it was so great.
Goodness, who else has even been?
Maroon 5's was really bad.
Cause see, I'm not huge into halftime show. I'm more into the football, but then I'll go commercial second and then halftime third.
I love all of it. I am locked in the entire time. Some others that I thought were really good. I thought Dr. Dre and Friends was good in LA.
Okay.
Rihanna, I think, was cool because she was pregnant.
Yeah.
People were really excited to see her back in
Was
action.
that last year?
Yes.
Yeah, that was last year. Yeah.
Without saying too much, we'll just remember Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake. Katy Perry was up there, Lady Gaga, Shakira, and Jennifer Lopez in recent years. Bruce Springsteen, Paul McCartney. So there's been some good ones. I am curious to see how Usher does. How do you think he's gonna smash it?
I don't know if he'll smash it, but he'll do fine. He's not gonna be bad.
Do you have a favorite Usher song?
I mean, I like Yeah.
I mean, it's classic.
But that's, that's
he's going to play, yeah.
Stereotypical,
Do you think we hear Burn?
No, I think it's too slow for a Super Bowl halftime show.
No, but you have to play it. Can you imagine, like, some rain with fire and him dancing and just being like, gotta let it burn?
Yeah, okay. All
You
right.
see it? You see
Are we
the
doing
vision?
fake rain or are we doing real rain? You can't really rut the playing surface, right?
No, but you could. It could be
We're
like
gonna
a
have fake
contraption,
rain?
with fake rain.
I'm all about authenticity.
I think it has to
it's
be
gotta
Burn.
be real. It's gotta be real.
I think it's got to be Burn. Nonetheless, you'll have to tune in for not only a great matchup between the 49ers and Chiefs, but Super Bowl and the commercials. It is bound to be a great time.
It'll be fun. Yeah.
And that was our Bailey Burmaster, Lee Smith, hopping on, talking about their Super Bowl predictions, what to watch out for, everything that you are going to need to know to fully immerse yourself as a fan, as a viewer, as someone who wants to experience this to the fullest extent. I want to take the couple minutes that we have together to talk more about Usher, because that is going to be a big moment. If you are not a football fan, you are definitely someone who is going to either see Usher pop up on their timeline, on their social media. Maybe you'll tune in to the halftime show. This is going to be I'll start with this. This is going to be one of the longest Super Bowl performances, if not the longest, for this year. Usher planning to go for 15 minutes instead of the usual 13 minutes that artists are given to perform, and we can expect classics and possibly even new music. That has been a conversation on social media buzzing. Usher has a new album that is out. He has a tour that's coming up later this year with 2 stops here in Atlanta at State Farm Arena. Coming Home is that album title, by the way. It features artists like Burna Boy, Latto, Summer Walker, Her, and The Dream. And one thing is for sure, Usher is not just a singer, he is a performer. And he said this performance is something that is going to be 30 years in the making.
That was, the influence that Atlanta has had on me, so much so that I collected everything that I experienced, I benefited from in Atlanta, and brought that culture to Las Vegas and now to the rest of the world on the Super Bowl halftime show.
And there's that album. I did have to just bring that music down a little bit for copyright reasons, but the Past, Present, Future album, that, by the way, if you were interested, pre-sale tickets, they are already available for you. Tickets for the general public go on sale Monday. Quite the business move for Usher to have his Sunday halftime show performance, and then on Monday tickets go on sale, and people are going to be searching his name, searching for the halftime show highlights, or maybe tuning in live. Hopefully, I know I will be catching Usher, being proud to know that our Atlanta's very own, grown up here in the A, taking the world by storm for millions of people this Sunday. So a lot of excitement wrapping up. One final look. I want to take y'all out to Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. This is where everything is going to go down on Sunday, and the magic is already starting between the fanfare experiences that we highlighted for you, the dining, the food, the excitement, the sleepover contest, that all of that leading up to the final days for Sunday as fans pour in to watch the 49ers, to watch the Kansas City Chiefs. Go at it and see who is it going to be? The Chiefs coming out with another back-to-back win, or the 49ers showing that they do what they always do? It is anyone's guess, but for the Super Bowl experience, so much goes into that past the big game. So we have a lot that we are going to continue to talk about here on Atlanta News First and Atlanta News First Plus. Now, I do want to remind folks who are watching on Roku TV, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, we do have our Atlanta News First News at Noon coming up for you next. Make sure you stay right here for where you're watching. If you're tuning in on YouTube Live, I still want to hear about your Super Bowl predictions, the Usher songs that you are looking forward to hearing the most. Maybe whether he'll play new music, that's anyone's guess, right? Drop your Super Bowl thoughts for me in the YouTube comments. Make sure you push that notification bell. That alerts you anytime we do streams like this, breaking news. It goes directly to your phone so you don't miss a thing. And of course, like and subscribe. We always appreciate your viewership and your interactions with us here on Atlanta News First Plus. In the meantime, make it a great day. We have a fantastic weekend ahead, a lot of excitement in the air. Atlanta News First News at Noon is coming up next.